In this video, guys, I'm going to ask the question, are the best trades the hardest to take? Stay tuned. Hey traders, warm welcome to you. All right, so this was a kind of offered to me as a statement that a lot of traders make, and that is the best trades are often the hardest to make. And my initial thought was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you say that? And then when you think about it, we sat down and discussed this, it actually makes a lot of sense. Because if you think about when you want to place a trade, your gut says you want to place a trade when the trade looks the best, right? So in other words, you've got a situation here, the market is chugging on. This is where FOMO comes in as well, guys. It's gone up, it's chugging up. You know that the markets like to chug up. It looks great, the market looks strong, all good. And so you buy at this level here. And a lot of people do this and they buy there because they think it looks good, and it does look good, right? So it looks like a great trade. But of course, often that's when the market starts to retrace, it pulls back, it doesn't look so good. Now, if you look at another scenario, imagine this. And we see this all the time as well, and many people are on the wrong side of this. So maybe there's something to be had about, something to be thought about this. So let's say we've pushed up, we've hit a resistance level, we're now pushed back down and we hit another resistance again level. This time we break out of it, okay? Just draw that line here, the resistance level, that line there. Now, the hard trade here is to stand in front of this, what believed to be like a freight train, and short it here, okay? But what's the most, not saying most likely because it's never this case, but what is a potentially very lucrative trade? It's trading the fade out, the fake out. It's trading the false breakout. Because we know, guys, depending on the market conditions, depending on the market we're trading, very often markets will fake out, and we complain about it and we go, well, I've been stopped out right at the high. You know, people have been stop hunting, they've been fishing for stops, I've been stopped out, blah blah. But then when you reverse engineer it, it's because you may have had a short here, and then you end up having your stop there. And you end up having a buy stop here, and people are buying a breakout here because it's a harder trade to take. It feels like it's broken through, and we talk about this a lot of times. So, well, if it's cleared through that resistance level and it's got an uptrend, you know, there's a strength behind it, you know, you start mentally thinking it's a good trade. But in actual fact, selling into this, and okay, it's easier, there's more to it than just literally stabbing straight in there. We want to see some little patterns, we want to see something on smaller time frames, we want to see some wicks, we want to see some volume fading, we want to see lots of little bits and pieces, but forgetting about the operations side of it for now, you know, selling into these key levels as we break through is pretty lucrative generally under the right conditions, right? And you and I both know this. We can bring up a chart of whatever we choose to trade. You're trading currencies, if I'm trading DAX, whatever, we look at the chart, majority of days, there's lots of wicks, there's lots of tails, there's lots of probes through key levels. And so fading those, generally speaking, is the right thing to do. If we're in a trending condition, of course not. Trending condition, this stuff's going to work all day long, but the markets don't trend very often. Markets are rotational more often than they are trending. And so that's how we kind of look at stuff. And so it begs the question that perhaps a filter you can add to your trade is this. Does this trade look good? Does this trade look like it's the best trade ever? And do you know what? As a little experiment I did a while ago, and I'm almost 100% certain this happens now. If you look on bulletin boards, on Twitter, on anything like stock twits where people are sharing ideas and sharing things and talking about their trades and how great they are and all this kind of stuff, you will often find this pattern. People are loudest when the market is about to turn. It's uncanny, guys, honestly. People are saying this market is so bullish, it's doing really, really well. And when they feel the most comfortable sharing the information about a trade, you know, the guy comes on and says, oh yeah, I was long from down here, I'm still in here, I'm holding, this looks great. When they feel comfortable enough about sharing, they feel like, hey, I'm in the sweet spot here, nothing can go wrong. It's almost to the tick when that thing will start to retrace and then they'll go quiet. And so it's almost like flipping that on its head. When people are feeling the most comfortable about the trade is the time when we should be fading that trade. Because if you think about what that means, is supply and demand is changing. Because yes, they feel comfortable, but they're not going to be really driving it. They're not going to be moving with emotion. And so they're already in the deal. They're not getting in the deal. Yes, there might be some extra people getting in, but it's the last batch of people. And so thinking about, where is the hardest place to take the trade, or which point is really not a textbook way to go, which point is really, not thinking alongside with the textbook, which point is where, it's not looking so great. And yes, it's a fine line, guys. It's not black and white. We've got this grey area as we do with trading, and it's my opinion on these things, and I'm interested to hear your guys' opinions on it. But very often, the hardest trade is often a better trade, because it feels like, the market's really strong at the moment. And I know sometimes you don't want to be selling into a strong market. I get that. But there's sometimes, especially if you're in a choppy condition, where the market looks like it's ripping off the upside and people want to get long and they jump on it, it just stalls and reverses. And so standing and fading that rip off the upside, especially something like this that breaks through a level and just kind of stalls, is often the right trade to do. And don't forget, guys, you get rewarded so well for taking this trade. I love these kind of trades. I've got a few of them in my setup arsenal, but they reward you so well because the risk reward is so quantified. Now, personally, I don't suggest selling straight into this. I'd like to see some kind of short-term thing that suggests that might be petering out. But you think the risk-reward ratio on something like that is very strong, because all you've got to do is have a little spike back into the range and you're already kind of paid for your risk, and then you've got the ultimate chance of it being a big longer-term fake out that ends up taking out the lows, and it becomes very, very lucrative. So even if you're looking at it from a logical perspective and going, you know what, I don't quite like doing that. If you think that maybe it doesn't even work the majority of the time, but the risk-order ratio makes up for it, then it might be worth considering. Anyway, in the comment section below, guys, let me know any patterns that spring to mind for you that are hard to take. I.e., do you struggle to buy pullbacks near highs? Do you think it's gone too far? Well, in actual fact, that's probably the best trade to take because it's strong. Do you struggle to take these kind of fake outs? Do you struggle to fade a gap fill on acceleration? Do you struggle to fade like a spike after news? What's the one for you? Because I think that's interesting. I might do future videos on that as well. We cover very specifically a setup and a strategy that you guys have talked about in the comment section, and how maybe that's a hard trade to take, but how can we frame it to make it an easier trade and make it look like it's going to work for us with a systemized approach with decent risk-reward ratio. Anyway, guys, that was the best trades, the hardest trades to take. See you next one. Take care. Bye-bye.